going to attempt to go through all the projects I have going, though ongoing for everywhere is cleaning, because that's just a given because it's all a mess. But right now, main thing I'm working on is this cylinder, which that's the casing for. That's the inner shaft. This is the hydraulic cylinder for an engine lift that I'll show in a sec. This was really pitted up, so it was leaking oil. I have JB Weld on. I need to now polish that back. And I have this, which is for the seals that go on to that inner shaft. I've taken the O-rings out and the packing. I have O-rings ordered to replace. I think only one really needs it, but the O-rings are cheap, so the main cost is honestly the shipping, so I just got all of them so I can have all new parts. Then I got the packing is this graphite packing rope, which people don't know graphite is used as a lubricant, but that's to seal it so oil doesn't go through but still be able to slide. And this is what the cylinder is for. It's a heavy duty engine lift I picked up in an auction. The cylinder just, goes there. I might clean this up and eventually paint it, but that's kind of low priority. And then I guess the most obvious next thing in line is this needs to get cleaned up. It's rusty, but it's honestly not actually that bad. Because when I got this, I cleaned off the surface rust and oiled it. I just haven't been able to get it inside yet, but I did oil that. It's just the rain has washed most of that away, so that's just light surface rust, so that won't actually be hard. That's already spoken for to sell to someone, but I have to move something else for them. And I'm gonna go around here. This is one of the things I've been working on. I got several John Deere tractors from my brother-in-law's mom, helping her clean out her dad's estate to sell. This one was one that was just a parts one, and I pulled the motor and everything else off of it. And as you can see here, I'm making this into a garden cart. Trying not to move much so I don't make it motion sicky. I made a linkage so that the handle can steer the wheels. It turns a lot easier than that when you're actually moving forward, but I need to fix that because it's crooked and that's going to bother me. But also I need to make the top for it. I don't want to cut any of the stuff that's sticking up in case I want to set this back up as a mower, but I can show what I'm putting on it, which is this. I got from an auction. It had a bunch of plates sticking up that I had to cut off that I still need to grind down, but this is aluminum, so it's really strong but really lightweight. I'm gonna put some blocking underneath it to get it level, but then this is gonna be the, I guess, deck of it, and then that's just gonna be a little wagon to haul around stuff in the yard without needing a mower or anything. Underneath it is my lift, which actually that I will just quick try and plug in here so I can show it. Sorry. big. And you can kind of see, well, I guess less so on the side I'm sitting, but when I got this, it has these end plates missing, so I need to make one for this. And this I need to fix because it didn't have those end plates. When I was unloading it, this stuff got pinched here and bent this up. So the rod that this is on is bent, so I need to take that out and straighten it and then weld a cap on there. Yeah, that's hydraulic, but the hydraulic system all works. And I have this 12,000 pound winch, which I got working, or it wasn't really broken, it just didn't have controllers for it. So I figured out the wiring, have that hooked up to that controller. This had just a frayed end, and I don't like the steel cable. I have synthetic line to replace that, but I just need to do that. And this, I think, is going to be temporarily used for a forklift I'm making until I switch it out to hydraulics. And since it's just right here, this is a double cut miter saw. Has 2 saw blades in there, and those go up and down. This is pneumatic, has a motor for each one. It's for cutting like trim. So you can cut the second angle on whatever your last piece that you cut was, and then your first angle on the next piece, if that makes sense. This is a hot press. That's not getting sold, is it? Because I don't think anyone's going to want it, but I want to take it apart for parts. If we step back a little, this, I have a bunch of these. I think I bought 10 or 12 of them. I just need to take parts off them before I sell it. I want to take those metal plates off, and they welded the connections down here. I want to cut those welds off so that the legs can fold. I also need to put all the casters back on because all the other ones I took those off. So I need to do that to sell all those. And then, oh, here, actually, let me just point to the next thing. This red thing here is a giant transmission jack I have, which is really nice, but it has a hydraulic leak. I'm not actually quite sure where yet, so I need to figure out where that is and then see if I can fix that. So I think I want to sell that one. And even if I don't sell it, I don't want it leaking because it means it's kind of useless. And on to the next thing. A couple things here actually. That is a tap-in drill that I just need to bring to the backyard to test it because it's 3-phase, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work just fine. Then I need to list that. This, if you know much about woodworking, if you've ever heard of pocket holes, this is a pocket hole maker. It's just a fancier version of a normal like pocket hole jig. How it works. This table is obviously garbage. I'm gonna replace it. I'll move this back a little. See if you can actually see in there. I'm trying not to move the camera. This, you'd have your 2 drill bits in here, and this whole assembly with the motor slides forward to plunge in to your workpiece. and it is pneumatic, and I want to change out all of the lines. I've ordered air lines for it. I just haven't gotten around to that. I'm also planning on changing the configuration of this, which I won't go into because it won't make sense. Then just some more stuff I have to list. I guess actually 3 truck hitches. There's 1, 2, 3, and that's a trailer frame bit, which that I think I'm keeping, but all the truck hitches I just need to list. Is there anything else over here? Nope. On to the next thing. So the next thing is this CNC spindle. You can kind of see there, it spins. That is actually a motor stator, because this would spin itself. And this is for putting ER40 tool holder in, because this would actually be vertical and would have like end mills and stuff in there on a CNC machine. I want to use this to make a lathe. I have a lathe chuck I want to mount on this, but this is not intended to mount a lathe chuck, so what I think I'm going to do is I have to do this really precisely, make a plate that mounts around this, and this I think is how I want to key it on. And then these are drive dogs, so they'll engage with it, and then I can mount my lathe chuck to that plate to be like a connector. But I don't want to connect in here because I don't want to lose access to being able to put material through there, if that makes sense, because that's very useful for lathe work. But that one is going to be, that's a lower priority. As much as I want a lathe, it's going to take a lot of work, and I'm going to have to send some things out, probably get done, just because I don't have the machines to work at those tolerances. This is basically an oven. It's for science test lab. I forgot what it can get up to. I want to say it's like 800 degrees Fahrenheit, but I need to test that. Oh, well, can I not do this with one hand? Apparently not, so I'm just going to leave it be. That's the controller for it. I just haven't gotten around to testing it. This skull was inside one of the other pieces of equipment. It was very surprising to see, but I have that now. A few different things here. This I really need to work on at some point. There's sawdust in there because there was an oil spill, so that was just to absorb the oil. This is a air over hydraulic system intended for semis. For the trailers, they'll have their stabilizing legs that go down to hold the trailer up. This is to power those rams. I have a hydraulic impact wrench that I tried to use to test it. I need to work on that more. I think my main problem was actually that I don't think the impact wrench is a good thing to test that with, but I really need to work on that so I can get that off here. That is a railroad jack. It's, oh, I forgot what it's labeled on the other side, but I don't want to move around and make people zip. I think it's 12 ton or 16 ton capacity. I clean that up a lot. I need to find 2 pieces for it. They're just little clips. I'm just not sure where they are. I might just make new ones, but that eventually I need to sell. That I need to clean up and see if I can get it moving. It's, oh, actually I'll move in on this one because it's cool. This was from a Navy ship. Just a really fucking heavy duty hoist. Like that's the size of the chain on this thing, or like the hook. It's massive. This thing weighs a lot, but right now it's stuck in place. I think it's the brake pad. There's like they're brake pads, but they pinch together if a load falls, like if something stops working, sudden movement will make the brakes go on, and I think those tend to get locked up, especially if they're like left out and whatnot, and like clearly this was. So I think it's that the brake discs are locked together, so I need to try to fix that. That one's kind of low priority for me though. Over here I have my gantry crane I made. I need to put some finishing touches on that. It does work as is, and I've already been using it, but I need to put some trailer jacks on, because when I'm lifting with this, I don't want to be using the wheels. I'm also planning on putting a center jack with a swivel plate on the bottom for turning. So basically, on whichever side you want to turn towards, like the inside of the turn, you'd put the jack down to lift the wheels off the ground, and then it's on a swivel plate, so then it can pivot to, when you push it, it'll do an arc. And I already know that in general works because I've tested it with a car jack. But in there you can see that is a big punch press. I need to decide if I want, it's missing the plate that controls the positioning of that turret, which I don't know if you can see right here, that you put different tool holders in, and the switches on it will change its position. The motor does work to spin that up, and it punches as it should, but there's supposed to be a plate that has a bunch of switches on it that connect to the switches on the front, which will stop it at the right position. Right now it just free spins, so you'd have to manually move it to the right position. So I'm debating if I want to make that or just sell it as is. Have scrap metal that just needs to go. I need to put some end plates on these I-beams and replace these straps with probably metal poles. I'll probably cut and weld, but they work for now. I also need to set up more of my trolleys for the I-beam. And then, well, I'll pause to turn here. Awkward placing because of trying to avoid the license plate on this car, but I have this massive I-beam, which can't really tell the scale. It's way thicker than the other one, but I'm making another gantry lift with that, so I have to do that. That one's going to be a more simple one though. Here I have that's a controller. I really need to go through that. My dad's mowed through and kicked grass clippings in there, but I think everything should be fine. This is basically scrap metal and just parts. That is the forklift I was talking about that I need to work on. It's in kind of disrepair because this frame for the wheel was just tack welded on just to hold it in place while I did things, and I had to push it because it was out of gas and I didn't have time to go to the store, and I forgot that was tack welded on, and I pushed from the steering wheel and broke that, so I need to re-tack that and then make a whole metal frame around to be rigid, and to also mount this on, which is going to be the upright, because I'm going to put, this is going to have a roof, it's going to have an enclosed cab. Eventually I want to put, you can't really tell, but this is actually a 3-wheel one. There's just one back wheel there, and it already has a big counterweight. Though it's going to need more, but that's fine because I have a 500-pound forklift battery that I'm going to put on the back to act as counterweight and, you know, power. But my plan is basically the forks mast that I'm making will be on the front here, and eventually I want to do that hydraulics, but for now I already kind of have the mast, which I'll show in a bit. It's already set up to be able to work with wire rope, so I think what I'm going to do, at least temporarily, is I'm going to set up that 12,000 pound winch I showed earlier onto that, and that will be what lifts the gantry, and then, you know, be gravity down. A few things here. There's a big hole there. The dirt pile from it is actually right here. That's because those plastic pallets that were in the last shot, I'm going to lay them down in the dirt, making a path, and then I'll backfill them and use those to help make a drive that I can move my equipment on better, because right now casters just sink into the dirt and it makes it really annoying to move things. I'd really like this to be a concrete slab, but that's not happening anytime soon because concrete's expensive, even if I do it myself. Then I have 4 mowers, and actually all 4 of them need some amount of work. There's also another one behind me that currently doesn't need work, but they'd like to fail. The little one is going to become electric. I have a forklift motor that I want to put in it. So that one's more of just like for fun. You can actually, well, no, you can't see. There's actually a little plant growing out of the seat. That one's my dad's, and I just need to fix the front linkage for him. It's just bent a little bit, so the wheel is slanted in, so it doesn't steer very well right now. Then back to John Deere's have various issues. I need to get those fixed up to sell. One of them I'm hoping might just be that it needs gas and might fire up to at least run. It definitely needs a tune-up, but and the other one, it needs the key switch at least cleaned, potentially replaced. I'm also working on clearing out the woods here, which it's a mess in there because this had kind of been used by the previous owners of this house, and, you know, to some degree my parents, basically as, you know, boneyard of things you don't want to see. Go over there, and then the trees and whatnot have overgrown into the area. But now I'll go into the pole barn, and here's where things get really chaotic. These, I need to press all the bearings out of them. I need to put together that welder that I repainted. It's just dirt on it, so I can sell that because it's nearly done and has been for a long time. I need to sell my old drill because new drill is much better. This here was a boat lift. I've already started modifying it. That I'm going to take off the base I made for it, and that's going to be the basis of the mast for my forklift build. A lot of this stuff all needs to be pulled out and rearranged, which is part of what I want the forklift to do. This is a lapping machine. Basically, it makes things flat. I need to list that. This big machine here, someone wants to buy, along with the spool, coil spooler I showed earlier and said someone had spoken for. He wants to buy that, but I need to be able to get it out of here, which isn't trivial, especially because that thing weighs, like 700, 800 pounds. There's just so much stuff here. There's this I need to just give up on. I wanted to test this and try to use it as a plasma cutter, but it's a really old one. So it actually has quite low specs, and you can't buy the consumables for it. I'm probably pretty much going to sell that for what I paid for it. Let's see, anything else I can get without moving? Not really. One sec. Can kind of get a better look at this drill press. It's massive. I love it. It's 3-phase, which kind of sucks, so I need to hardwire in that right now. I have an extension cord going to a VFD. I need to get it off this cart, but first I need to move everything else around. Have this grinder that I also need to get off its cart. I think I'm probably going to sell that. I'm not sure. I have a bunch of motors I need to go through and list. I have several of these cranes that I need to test, but they're 460 volt 3-phase, so I have to hook up a transformer to go from, well, first I need to go from my 240 outlet to my VFD to get 240 3-phase instead of single phase, and then I need to go from that to a transformer to go from 240 3-phase to 480 3-phase, and then I need to wire up to these, which I have like 6 or 8 of, to test and try to fix all of those. Various stuff here needs to be listed. Over here I have more stuff. I have, it's hard to see, electric pallet jack. It does work. The battery is finicky. I'm probably going to end up taking it apart. I haven't really decided. I have that, which is my power hacksaw, which works. I need to find a better place for it, and do a little tuning on it. That is a book stitcher. It's kind of like a wire sewing machine. I just need to get that listed. That's a corner rounder. It's from the same place as these. It's all for like printing, press kind of stuff. It's for taking a big stack of paper and cutting the corners off it to have round corners. That needs to get sold. This is a paper drill press, but it's the back of it. It has a hydraulic press that goes down, and then the drill bits are basically like little thin pipes. I need to get it off its kind of precarious footing and onto a mobile base. This yellow thing that's kind of hard to see is a box stapler for like in a warehouse. I need to get that listed. You can't see it and it's not worth moving around for, but there's also like a conveyor belt for metal shavings, like that, to go from like a CNC machine into their dumpster or whatever, wherever they store their metal shavings for recycling. That needs to also get listed. I have this hydraulic power pack for a car lift. I either need to lift, I originally wasn't going to list that, but I might. Otherwise I need to hook it up to some of the hydraulics I have and see if I can use it. Hydraulics are just finicky because the fit-ins are really expensive. So, but, oh, here, actually, one second. I have one more big thing. And by one more, I mean one in here and actually lots more. I have all this storage, and a lot of them haven't been utilized yet, so I need to sort things and label things and get everything into drawers. I need to put the table and guard back on my my sander, my compressor. I need to get to replace the on-off regulator, because right now it'll run and stop at the correct pressure, but it doesn't turn itself back on when you drop to a certain pressure to, bring it back up to top so that it's not empty. So I really need to fix that, but it's just money. Obviously I have lots of stuff on the ground that needs to be cleaned. Then I actually have one more thing in the carport that I'll show, which is my pantograph. Okay, and here's my pantograph that I was super excited to get, and it was fucking hell to get this thing home because I had to disassemble like the entire thing to get it to just physically be able to get out the door of the place I bought it from, which was a 2-day process. I got it back together, which also was hell. This is a really cool machine. It lets you basically trace a template, and then you can put cut-in tools in here to mill copies, which can also be 3D. It doesn't have to just be 2D flat engravings. And this is almost done, and has been since basically I got it home. I pretty quickly got it reassembled, but what I haven't done is just, in order to get this home, I had to cut the wires. I need to redo the electricals to get it hooked up again. And the other big thing of why I haven't really done that is I don't have 3-phase out here, which is what this runs on. So I need to get this moved to the pole barn, which I know I've just been kind of clipping back and forth between sections of videos, but it's in the backyard, and it's not easy to move big equipment like this that far through soft dirt. And this weighs, I can't remember how much it weighs, but it's over 1,000 pounds. I think this weighs like 1,400 pounds, so it sucks to move. Even it's on a mobile cart, but even with that, it's not easy to move this thing. I would love to be using this, but it's just a lot. So hopefully that will get done, but frankly I can't even like begin to think about doing this until I get the pole barn cleared, which as you can see is a nightmare. This takes up a lot of space, and also it's 3-phase, so I need to have kind of either dedicated wiring to it, or it needs to be within reach of an extension. But yeah, this is, I'm sad that I haven't gotten this done, because I've really wanted to do stuff with this, but it's just been sitting here. At least this one's inside, so it's not getting rusty. I wish everything could be inside, but stuff is way too big. I can't have everything inside. I want to at least make some like outdoor shelters to at least reduce the amount of direct rain on things. But yeah. Also, that insulation needs to go back up, and I need to put like plastic or some temporary solution to better hold this stuff up. I put some roping and bracing when I first installed it, which worked for a long time, but it's starting to work itself loose, which sucks. But anyways, that is, frankly, despite this being a 35-minute long video, a pretty condensed version of the projects I have, because I have a lot more small ones around and everything that's inside, but this is the more interesting stuff. If you watch this, I don't know why, but but there you go.